Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It is the 3rd. It's May. It's 2026. And we're going to try a new format here on one of these backup channels to see if we can get any traction. I get so many emails, messages, comments, etc. with links to videos that I just download and download and download. Well, I'm going to start uploading them and commenting on them, okay? I just uploaded a new video to Jailbreak Overlander about free energy. You're probably going to want to watch. Links are in the description. Here we go. Let's start with Sleepy Joe 2.
This study, VAERS adjusted data, and other derived from the MIT Florida Department of Health study findings that yield a conservative range of 470,000 to 600,000 American deaths from the COVID-19 mRNA shots.
That's it?
More than, well, just that alone. That's a lot of people, man. More than World War I, World War II, and Vietnam combined. If that's true. It indicates Pfizer, this is Pfizer alone, so this is not even Moderna.
Oh, okay.
Pfizer alone likely killed over 470,000 Americans. They found a 36% increase in all-cause mortality among Pfizer recipients versus Moderna.
Yeah, but they saved millions.
Yeah, I keep hearing that. I think the saving millions thing is even based on the idea that you wouldn't get COVID if you got the vaccine, which turned out to not be true at all.
None of what they said turned out to be true.
No.
So with all the money that Joe Rogan has and all the access to wealthy people, billionaires, inside knowledge, etc., 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 in 2026, 5.5 years after the fact, he's finally figuring out what I was telling you before the vaccine was even available. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. But you know what? Too little, too late right now.
In the span of 24 hours, there have been 17 earthquakes near Area 51. It started with a 4.4 magnitude quake just 2.5 miles underground. The area is normally not prone to earthquakes this shallow, and it's leading to theories of nuclear testing or even UFOs, because it all happened after President Trump said this.
Do you have an update on the UFO files and when we're going to be seeing those?
Well, I think we're going to be releasing as much as we can in the near future. They want to find out about the UFOs and anything having to do with UFO or related material, and we're going to be releasing a lot of things that we have, and I think some of it's going to be very interesting.
Joining us now to respond, Dr. Stephen Greer, UFO researcher and retired physician. Great to see you, doctor. So are these earthquakes just a version of burning the files at an embassy when people got to get out?
Well, the thing that lights up in my mind is that back in the 1990s, I briefed a man who worked and designed a security apparatus at some of the facilities out there, particularly the ones up near Groom Lake and Pahut Mesa. And he explained that on the top of those complexes underground were like bunker busting type bombs, but underneath them were thermonuclear devices, so that if anybody was getting close to those facilities, and by this, it could even be the legal government of the United States, they could collapse those facilities. Now, I don't know that that's what happened, but I know for a fact those security systems are out there. So that's one consideration. Now, it could just be a cluster of earthquakes, or they could be doing some legitimate underground testing out in that region.
Yeah, there are a lot of mountains out there, so earthquakes are not out of the question.
Earthquakes all over Area 51. That's a pretty easy one. Most of you guys probably understand what it is. June 12th, 2026. So June 6th, 12, 666. Disclosure Day is coming out. And Disclosure Day, you know, the movie cover where they're tearing through the veil. Well, if I had to make an educated guess, all the scientists have gone into deep underground military bases because they need them full-time, 24/7, all day, every day, because they're going to get ready to pull a massive alien invasion using real-world technology, black technology we've never seen before, holographic imagery, etc., 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 and it would explain all the crazy amounts of chemtrails, because chemtrailing has been off the hook recently. So get ready, and do not forget, just 2 days after Disclosure Day comes out, which will be, Disclosure Day is basically a how-to video, or worst case scenario, Disclosure Day is going to literally activate people in some way because of the weird clicking and beeping that these people make. I'm not watching the movie. I'm not watching the movie, and I really need to, but I'm not watching the movie. 2 days after Disclosure Day comes out, June 14th, at the White House, there will be 4,000 people gathered for a UFC fight. The president's been had attempts on his life 3 times. We're going to have 4,000 people show up for a fight full of adrenaline and alcohol and fighting at the White House. Remember Independence Day? Where's the first place the spaceship came down? Remember? Be ready. That's all I'm saying. And since the UFC was invented, because I followed UFC the entire time, since it's been around, UFC used pay-per-views. You had to have pay-per-views. But fortunately, that's no more. Because Larry Ellison, the billionaire oracle Larry Ellison, his son David Ellison bought Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus just bought the UFC for $7.2 billion. So now instead of having to pay-per-view, all eyes can be fixed on this spectacle because people are going to want to see this because it makes no sense. 3 attempts on your life and you're going to have 4,000 people hopped up on adrenaline, fighting, and alcohol on the White House lawn? Everyone's going to watch this. Yeah, it's a thing.
Key scientific point is it has never been proven that human emissions of carbon dioxide drive global warming. Only 3% of emissions are from humans. The rest is natural, from ocean degassing mainly, but some from volcanoes. So if you're to prove that humans and their emissions of the gas of life change climate, then you also have to prove that the natural emissions, 97% of all emissions, don't change climate. That has never been addressed. We have a fallacy from day one in this whole climate hysteria. It's got nothing to do with the environment. It's got nothing to do with being green, except that being green means you get a huge pile of greenbacks. This is about money. This has got nothing to do with the climate. It's got nothing to do with the environment. It is, can I create a new way to skin the punter alive? And that's what's happening. Just look at your electricity bill and just wonder why in this country we had cheap, reliable electricity. Now it's very expensive. Now your job is threatened because of this expensive electricity. This is probably the biggest con that we've ever had, maybe the biggest con since...
Maybe the biggest con that we've ever had. And Agenda 2030 is based off of carbon dioxide release. CO2 is why Agenda 2030 is even coming. It's even why it's a thing. They've been beating on this drum my entire life. Global warming, ice age is coming, the Earth's going to heat up, the Earth's going to cool down. Ooh, wait a minute. Climate change. Climate change. Well, recently, after 11,350 data centers, which are literally, if climate change were real, or if you wanted to create climate change, build data centers, because all they do is destroy the atmosphere, the water, and everybody around them. With that in mind, Bill Gates recently just said,
how great a problem bovine flatulence is. Nobody knows how to get rid of that. How to get cows to stop farting. Exactly, or burping. And so there is artificial meat, but that's at a very early stage. If it was a 50% reduction, then you could ignore, okay, leave the cows alone. But because we're trying to avoid the temperature continuing to go up, you do need to go to zero. Not just everything should be solely for climate. Wasn't the goal here to improve human lives? Climate is super important, but has to be considered in terms of overall human welfare.
So Bill Gates publicly changes his mind and says, yeah, climate change isn't really going to do anything, no big deal whatsoever at all. And they're banking on the fact that people are way too distracted with everything else that's going on, because so much is going on at all times. If you're a content creator like myself, you could sit here all day, every day, constantly, never ending, never leaving a cabin, never leaving an apartment, a hotel, or your house, because there's so much content. But it continues. Bill Gates came out and said, yeah, we're lying, but you can't hear us, so we don't really care. Moving on.
According to the ordinance, quote, the owning, keeping, or harboring of pigs, horses, cows, sheep, goats, llamas, domestic fowl, outdoor rabbits is prohibited, and this section does not apply for temporary religious sacrificial purposes as permitted by law.
Our city is dirty enough. We don't want to make more dirty.
Debates raged on for at least 3 hours at Hamtramck City Hall over the new ordinance of sacrificing animals.
Really ridiculous, catastrophic resolution.
If it's not passed, then we are ready to take it to the court for the religious rights. It is constitution.
This was the second debate of the new ordinance, and there was a crowd outside of the City Hall chambers filling out cards to speak, and they were watching it on closed-circuit TV.
No, it's not safe or sane or humane because basements or kitchens or backyards are not suitable places for live animal slaughter.
Many people, including Muslim residents, were against it, citing sanitary concerns if the animals are sacrificed in a home and not in a sterile environment, especially in the tight-knit neighborhoods of Hamtramck. The ordinance that was passed on Tuesday night says religious sacrificing of animals can be done as long as it is done legally and humanely.
I think it's the best compromise. We don't want to restrict religious freedoms, and we don't want to keep it random without regulations.
Many Muslims pay a butcher to perform the religious sacrifice, but for some families, it's just not practical, says Nawar Ali with CARE Michigan.
A lot of families will typically do it in the confines of their property, like in their backyard, their garage, and again, dispose of the animal accordingly.
So now we have people that don't even belong in this country. They are not citizens, claiming the Constitution in their defense. They're using our Constitution, which our government doesn't allow us to use anymore. But as long as you're from another country and you're doing something detrimental, something that's going to help destroy America, good to go. Jesus Christ was the last sacrifice. After Jesus, there are no more sacrifices. And yet these people are still doing it in places like Michigan, Texas, places you wouldn't expect this to be occurring. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's happening nonetheless. We are truly in end times right now. Just all there is to it. The powers that be are a gang. They're not our representatives. They're not looking out for our best interests. They're not upholding the Constitution. They're allowing the United States to be destroyed. Do you ever look around? You wonder why our infrastructure is garbage. The highways are garbage. The side roads are garbage. Why the electrical grid is garbage. Why every single solitary stream, river in the United States is polluted because of nuclear power plant or some other corporation is dumping whatever it wants into the water, and the government just looks the other way because they get a fat stack for it. It's insane. It's utterly insane. We're living through it right now. It's unreal.
Acoustic lip reading. If the cameras aren't enough, the system emits inaudible sound waves and reads the echoes bouncing off of your mouth. You can't see it. It's just happening. Biometrics. Your face, fingerprint, iris, filed February 2024, and it was published August 2025. This one is assigned a serial number because it's real. Ad listening. This is scary. It monitors conversations between everyone in the cab. It serves targeted ads based on what you and others are talking about while you're driving. In Ford's words, maximum opportunity for ad-based monetization.
This is Agenda 2030. This is Agenda 2030. That's all this is right here. Literally, the ability to have a kill switch in every car from 2027 on. The first new car I ever bought in my life is sitting outside. I paid $63,000 for a brand new 2019 in 2023. I got an older truck because I wanted certain electronic things not in there. And anything that was in there, I pulled out. Anybody buying a new car now, because that's what they do, the car has the ability to say, yeah, your eyes are a little dilated, so you can't drive. And even if it does let you drive, it's listening to everything that you say because it's giving off acoustic waves that can read your lips. This is beyond the pale. Who in the world? Your government is supposed to protect you from corporations doing things like this, except it's the government that's having the corporations do things like this. Do you see what's coming? Do you see what's coming? Because it's coming really soon. Really, really soon. I'm glad to see that this is catching traction, but they'll just slip and move. No big deal. And always, always false flag. Always the false flag, in my opinion.
And why are they widening?
They're all going in a straight line.
They're getting farther and farther apart. Look how fast that one's moving now. Like, how fast that one? You see, look straight up. You see him? Right
Oh,
how fast
wow.
those are moving?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. It's like perfectly spaced, too. It's interesting.
They'll try to say that it's Starlink, but our spaceship
A
is
satellite?
Now, many of us have recorded this exact same thing in the sky. A string of lights that are actually moving. They're not concentric. They don't stay in the exact same spot. Starlink is a completely different setup. It's a very similar setup, but it ain't what you're seeing right there. That footage was taken by the author of Confusion in Christianity and Confusion in the Cosmos. He's somebody that's very adept at monitoring the night sky, and he recently caught this on his property up by the Indiana, Illinois type area, which a lot of activity happens in the midnight sky. And he caught that. It is not Starlink. It's something very similar, but they're putting up the lights. They're getting ready for the big show. Big shows coming soon, and the movie Disclosure Day should tell you everything you need to know. Pandemic came out right before the pandemic came out, the movie Pandemic. And I say this and I'll say it again. It told you how to act. It told you about social distancing. It gave you all the inside tips so that when they dropped all these mandates on you, it wasn't complete culture shock. They're doing the same thing with Disclosure Day, so be ready. And here's one more. I videotaped this the other day in St. Joe, Arkansas at 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning. What I believe we're seeing here is the sun rising with the sun simulator directly in front of it. And as it's coming up over the horizon or coming out of its portal, as the book of Ezekiel, Enoch tells us, I believe it's having a hard time catching up with it. Well, Richie, there's fog in the way. I understand that. I filmed the sun with the fog in the way all the time. It never looks like this. This is two objects with one that is slowly catching up to the other one, and then they finally kind of move as one through the atmosphere as it rises, which would explain why the yellow sun rises, the white sun takes over, the white sun goes through the sky at night, and the yellow sun sets, in my opinion. At any rate, like this video, share this video, leave a comment below, and I will return the favor. Richie from Boston, and for now, I'm out.